The age-old debate, nature or nurture. Are gifted kids just born like that, or is it their environment which made them that way? Some people say that kids who struggle in school just weren't taught properly or haven't been given the same opportunities, while other people argue that that kid is just clearly stupid. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, so today we're going to go over the 7 levels of academic success, and you can tell me in the comments which level you think you are. Level 1, Beetlejuice.
What number comes between 2 and 4?
2 and 4. Start from 1.
Don't confuse him. Let him just give him.
Let me hear his thing.
He's got the answer.
36. Oh.
While there is something innately funny about people completely blanking at the most simple questions, most people on this level don't end up being rich and famous like Beetlejuice.
$1 million, honey.
Four. Right.
$4 million.
You want to go out?
People on the very bottom of academic achievement often have specific learning disabilities like dyslexia, struggle with communication, or have autism. In the US, 15% of public school students receive services under IDEA, meaning they have some kind of special needs, but their dropout rate is double that of people with no special needs. But the fun doesn't stop there for these people. The high school dropout is 4 times more likely to be unemployed than the college dropout, and on average earns 60% less. Because of this, students with learning disabilities are at 2 or 3 times higher risk for developing depression or anxiety. The majority of these students actually have normal levels of intelligence, with only around 6 to 7% of them suffering from some kind of intellectual disability. So just because someone has special needs doesn't mean that they don't know what colour a carrot is.
What color is a carrot?
Carrot? I think it's a carrot.
Level 2, below average. Across OECD countries, 31% of 15-year-olds scored below baseline proficiency in mathematics, meaning they can't reliably solve everyday problems like calculating sale prices or fractions of numbers. Now, it's easy to think that these people must have something wrong with them, but it was only in the last 50 years where these skills actually became common. In fact, global literacy rates for those aged 15 and over only crossed 50% sometime around the 1960s. It used to be pretty normal not to know how to read and write. Level 3, average. At this point, you can solve simple problems like what's 2/3 of 90 pretty easily, but you struggle with more complex problems like evaluating the use of metaphors as literary devices. You most likely struggle to get an A, but you can pretty easily get a C in most of your classes. Interestingly, a Rand Corporation study found that over 50% of average performing students reported not being challenged enough in school. Oftentimes, teachers may focus so heavily on getting the lower level students to pass their exams that once a student reaches a C or a B grade, it's no longer a priority to get them up to an A because the teacher is too busy focusing on the students who are still failing. It's also the case that many of these students master the art of memorizing and following instructions, but don't learn to effectively problem solve on their own, which is often required for the higher grades. Popular kids in school are most likely on this level because they put in just enough effort so that they don't fail their classes, but no more because they find other activities like sports or socializing more rewarding. Also because this level relates to the most people, and these people tend to be the best at using their social intelligence to get ahead in life instead of their academic achievements. Level 4, above average. I'm going to say most of my viewers are on this level because you kind of need an above average IQ to laugh at skibbity toilet jokes. And not only that, studies have shown that people with an IQ between 110 and 120 are twice as likely to study a STEM degree, and people with an IQ between 120 and 130 are 4 times as likely. Because of this, the average IQ of specific subject graduates like physics and astronomy or mathematical sciences has been found to be above 130, which places the average as being higher than 97.5% of the general population. A sign that you're on level 4 is that you can still get A's pretty comfortably, but it requires a solid effort, and that could easily drop down to a C or even a fail if you don't put in any effort. It's important to note here that I'm talking about the American grade system and not the English grade system, because in England, only a quarter of students are given an A or an A star, but in America, it's nearly half of them. So an A grade American student is on average stupider than an A grade Brit. And that's a fact, not an opinion. I'm a bit thirsty, I might need a bottle of water. Level 5, toppers. These guys will top the class in 1 or more subjects. If you can easily get an A, sometimes without even studying, then you're probably on this level. If people often go to you instead of the teacher for answers, it's because they see you as a walking textbook instead of as an actual person. In the same way that someone on level 3 might struggle to recognize how someone on level 1 is an actual human being with thoughts and emotions, someone on level 3 will also struggle to recognize how someone on level 5 is an actual human being. because they simply don't understand how your brain works. This contributes to the social disconnect, which starts around level 5, where high achievers will struggle to find friends who can actually match their depth. And just like how people on level 1 can often be bullied, people on level 5 can also be bullied for this. Level 6, competitor. These students not only top their classes in their own school, but also compete in a region-wide or even country-wide competition to see who's the biggest, sweatiest, greasiest, nerdiest geek of them all. These students may even skip grades or get placed in classes with people who are years older than them because their ability is way beyond their years. It's difficult to really talk about the grades of these students because they often aren't taking the exams which are appropriate for their age. If you were to give one of these students an exam designed for their age group, it would be like giving an adult a test on their ABCs. We're talking about students who are in the top 0.1% now, and if you're in this group, then your IQ is most likely above 140, placing you in the genius category. While they are incredibly gifted and capable of solving problems in the cutting edge of mathematics, science, and philosophy, most of these people can never integrate into society because of just how different they are. And people on this level or higher are likely to have some form of autism, just like the people in level 1. Level 7, Mega Genius Super Freak Brainiac. These are the people who tend to compete in international Olympiads, meaning they scored in the top 5 students for that subject in their entire country. They often defy developmental norms, learning to read and write as early as 2 years old, and some even graduating college at 10 years old. If you're on this level, then you already know you are. You don't need me to tell you are, because you appeared on the news for doing something ridiculous like learning 7 languages at the age of 4. People no longer make fun of you because of your intelligence because they're actually a little bit scared of you. They know that if somebody could become a serial killer and then get away with it, it would be you. But on the bright side, you never have to worry about money because if you ever wanted to retire, you could just solve the Millennium Prize problems or write a linguistic masterpiece, become a millionaire, and then live out the rest of your days reading textbooks or whatever it is you like to do. If you like this video, then you might want to watch the 7 levels of mathematics, like, comment, subscribe, and piss off.